there, when you are, to give you chizuk while you are sitting there and you are insisting on remaining, and you are part of the destiny of the Jewish people in the homeland we daven for so many years, unafraid and not running away and not going anywhere else without any judgment of those who've had to make other decisions. And we'll speak about that. Everyone needs to make the decisions that are right for them. But the fact that you've reached the conclusion, you're there, you're learning, you're growing, you're volunteering, you're doing, is absolutely extraordinary. We couldn't be more proud. We couldn't be more humbled to know you and to be close to you and to be watching you and to have this opportunity to speak to you. So the first thing I want to say is really exactly that. This week's Parsha told us Noach ish tzaddik, and all the commentators, all the Mefarshim jump up and they wonder why the redundancy, why the repetitiveness. Eila told us Noach. Really, two questions begin the Parsha. One, you introduce it, Eila told us Noach. You're about to give the lineage, you're about to give the progeny, you're about to list the offspring, the children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and then you disappeared. Where'd you go? You said, let me tell you the Toldos. And then you didn't continue by listing the Toldos, by listing the offspring. Instead, you say Noach's name again. You just repeat his name. Eila told us Noach. How does that make any sense? And I've seen others say, and I want to frame it in a particular way, and this is an important message to you and to all of us regularly and to you in these extraordinary times. We are very focused in Yiddishkeit on our continuity, on the legacy, on the Toldos that we create. Avos means Toldos. Toldos means Avos. There's a continuity, there's intergenerational, there is a transmission of our values, there's a transmission of our beliefs, there's a transmission of our Torah Kadosha, of Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, Torah Yisrael, and to have Toldos, to have offspring, that is a fundamental value. You know, there's a major crisis people are not speaking about, even before this war in America and elsewhere, which is a birth rate crisis. In America, the birth rate is at a low for a very, very long time, and the population is actually shrinking as a result, and that's a danger, that's a threat, because we live in a world and in a society which is focused on themselves, and many are not interested in having children and not having the number of children, and not everybody has a choice. There are those who are single who want to be married, those who are married who are desperate for children. We give them all a bracha. They should realize their dreams. They should populate Pru, Revu, Maluas, Haaretz, that everybody should have their tefillos, their dreams come true. But there are people who are choosing not to. Some it's the right decision for them, but others it's not coming from a right or righteous place. And that's a crisis that is facing several countries. We don't believe in that. Eila told us we believe in continuity. We don't live for the here and now. We don't live for ourselves. We live for the Ribbono Shalom, to be of service to him and his world, to repair it, to redeem it, and to transmit it to our Toldos. And that's how many people measure their lives. They look at their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. Your parents and your grandparents are looking at you. They are proud of you. They're thinking of you. They might be worried about you. They might be tremendously worried about you. They might be stressing you out by how much they're worried about you, but they love you and they're proud of you because you are their Toldos. We think that our progeny, our offspring, our children, those are our Toldos. Comes the Torah and begins the Parsha by telling us, you know what your first offspring is? You know who your number one progeny is? You know what your number one continuity, what you will give birth to in your life is? Eila told us Noach, your future self. Your biggest legacy is you, your brand, your reputation, your image, your life, the influence, the impact, the difference that you made, the decisions that you made, your behaviors, how you lived your life. Don't overlook yourself and jump right to creating future generations, but realize Eila told us Noach, the very first Toldah, the very first offspring that you will create is yourself, is your future self. Those who live in Boca know our ordinary Shabbos Shuvah drushes this year was no different. It was long, too long according to some, but we explored the topic of your future self, how Yiddishkeit is all about looking at your future self and living in the present with an eye towards that future. It means, what do we eat? Do we exercise? Do we sit still? It means living a present life that is an investment in our future physical health and wellness life. It means spiritually making choices right now, which will create a future for ourselves in ruchnius, in spirituality, and for those who are around us. It means emotionally and in mental health, living in a present in a way that we are invested to have a better and healthy future self. That's how this parsha is beginning. Eila told us Noach, and then the parsha is not in fact deviating. We didn't abandon listing the Toldos. The very first Toldah that we list is Noach himself. Why am I sharing this with you? Because Chevra, young men and young women, and whatever parents are allowed to eavesdrop into this private conversation I'm having with them, listen to me. Eila told us Noach. What you're doing today for your future selves, what you're doing today for the future of Klal Yisrael, the investment that you are making in the rest of your lives, in what you will remember and cherish and hold on to forever. You are living for your future self. You're living in a present in a way your future will be forever proud, will be forever remember, will forever hold on to, will forever feel that you are molded and you are shaped by the decision that you're making right now. It's not easy. And I don't begin to know what it's like because I'm not there. But whether it's sirens that are forcing you to run to shelters, whether it's a program, whether your seminary or yeshiva year has been interrupted and disrupted, you're not running out to restaurants on your own or by parents who are taking you out, spending Shabbases, exploring the country where you want to go, Tiyulim, which you were so looking forward to as part of your experience, being on lockdown. There are sacrifices, there's a Mesiras Nefesh. Yes, it pales in comparison to the soldiers in the front line, but everything pales in comparison to them. But you're also on a front line. You are right behind them. You are in the country and you're living and you are part of the story and the future of the Jewish people. And that is a Toldah. You are giving birth to part of your legacy. That when you meet people and you will talk about that the war of 2023, Tafshin Pei Daled, that the war of Shemini Atzeres of Simchas Torah, you will forever remember where you were. You will forever remember that you stayed. You will forever remember the difference that you are making just by being there. And that is a Toldah. That is an offspring that you are giving birth to. That is part of your life. That is part of your life. Now, while as proud as you are and as proud as we are of you, and as part as you're leaning in to this experience, which is so enriched and is so empowered, yes, there are negatives. Yes, it's curtailed. Yes, you have to compromise and sacrifice. You have to be Moser Nefesh, parts of what you were looking forward to this year. But there are other parts, whether it's working on tzitzis that will be distributed to soldiers, that will protect them, that will help boost their morale, whether it's distributing food, whether some of you have taken families from the South who are living in your seminary or yeshiva or next to it, and you're helping out and you're pitching in and you're doing, it's shaping who you are. It's enriching your life. Lean into it, embrace it, be proud of it. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to be anxious. If you weren't, then you might be living recklessly. Those are healthy emotions to feel, because the person who never feels nervous doesn't know where the boundaries of life are, doesn't know where the edge is, and you live recklessly. And right now, you need to live responsibly. You need to follow what your yeshivas and seminaries are telling you. You need to follow what the army and the police and what Israel is saying, how to live and take the hishtadlus, the initiative to live as safely as you can. That's your job. And being a little bit anxious, a little bit on edge, a little bit concerned is what motivates us and protects us and creates the boundaries around living recklessly. Don't live recklessly. Follow the rules. Take that not only for yourselves and your well-being, it's what you could do for your parents and your grandparents who are worried about you. Give them the peace of mind to know that you're following the instructions and the rules, that you're doing what you need to do, that you're taking all the precautions that you can. But don't feel guilty or ashamed if you're a little bit anxious, a little bit on edge. That doesn't represent a stira, a conflict, or a contradiction to your emunah and bitachon. Emunah and bitachon is to realize I'm where I'm meant to be, I'm where I need to be. Kadosh Baruch Hu ultimately is the one who decides wherever we are what will be. Once we do our effort, our reasonable hishtadlus, we let go and we let God, and the rest is up to Him. And the rest is up to Him. So we couldn't be more proud of you. What you're doing is extraordinary. Where you are, the difference that you're making. You are giving birth to your future self. Eila Toldos Noach. You are cementing a part of your legacy, a part of your life that you will never forget, that your family and Klal Yisrael will forever be proud of, that means the world and the difference to those who live there. I have two siblings. They both live in Eretz Yisrael. My parents, my in-laws are both there right now. We all have a lot of family. I'm in touch with a lot of Israelis and a lot of Olim, and they talk about that the students who've chosen to stay, the students who understand that this is our homeland, this is where we belong, this is part of our destiny, this is our collective story. The students who are demonstrating, not just saying with words, but demonstrating that Israel is not some place that you go on your summer camp. Israel's not just where you run to for sukkahs. Israel's not where you go for a bar or bat mitzvah trip. Israel's not where you go to tour when all is well and safe. But Israel is, when you're there, where you remain, because it's where we're meant to be. And it's boosting the morale of the millions of those who've moved their life there, who were born there, who that is their permanent home. It is boosting their morale. So even if you think, what difference am I making? I'm sitting in my beis medrash, I'm sitting in my seminary, I'm sitting in my library, I'm sitting in my dorm room. Am I really making a difference by being here? Can't I just be sitting in Boca or the Five Towns or Teaneck or Chicago, Detroit or LA or South Africa or England or wherever you're from? Am I really making a difference? The answer is yes. You're not letting the terrorists terrorize you and running away from them. You're boosting the morale of a country who says, that their presence, your being here, means the world to us. And most of all, you're cementing Eila Toldos Noach, you're cementing your Noach, your future. Does that mean that we're entitled to judge or be resentful or be angry at those who've made different decisions? Absolutely not. You know, there's a famous debate about Noach. Everybody knows the Rashi that quotes Chazal, Yesh Dorshim L'Shvach and Yesh Dorshim L'Genai. Some who talk about Noach in a praiseworthy way, and some who talk about Noach and they are critical of Noach. You know, Noach, not just a neutral power character. Everybody's got an opinion about Noach. Everybody lines up on Noach. I don't know, when your yeshiva, your seminary, different teachers are probably coming. Some are on the pro-Noach team, some are on the anti-Noach team. Poor Noach is probably the most bold personality of Tanakh, who everyone feels they have to hold a vote on him. Everybody holds, like an Olympic judge, they hold up a number. You know, how did Noach land the dismount? Not everybody else do we feel that we need to judge, and yet Noach we do. Yesh Dorshan Lignai, Yesh Dorshan L'Shnach. Rashi quotes Chazal. Is it that Noach was amazing and would be in any generation, or Noach he was okay, he was pretty good, but if he would have lived with Avram Avinu, with Moshe Rabbeinu, if he would have lived at a time with righteous people around him, he wouldn't have been much. It's an interesting question why we do this game with Noach and no one else. Spoke about it in the Parsha Shir this week, not for now, but I want to tell you an incredible insight I saw. You'll notice when Rashi quotes this Chazal, Rashi says, Yesh me'raboseinu shedorshan l'shvach, v'yesh shedorshan l'gnai. Rashi says that you know who's worthy of being called Raboseinu? Even though people line up on both sides, you know who are our Rebbeim, you know who are our teachers, you know who are our moros, you know who are our role models? The ones who are Dorshan L'Shvach. Yesh me'raboseinu, be medayik, look carefully. Yesh me'raboseinu, Dorshan L'Shvach. And yesh Dorshan L'Gnai. And those who are Dorsh L'Gnai, they're not me'raboseinu. You want to look at Noach and say, is he good? Yeah, he's pretty good. But I have to tell you, if he lived in another generation, he'd be nothing special. Such a person, the cynic, the skeptic, the one who's looking to be critical, they're not me'raboseinu. Me'raboseinu are Dorshan L'Shvach. We praise, we look up, we give the benefit of the doubt, we see the good in people. If they're Dorsh L'Gnai, they're not me'raboseinu. And I think that's a very important lesson for us as well right now. Everyone needed to make the decision that's right for them. And I know there are people on this call, there are people I'm very close with who maybe all their roommates left, maybe the chavrusim that left, maybe their dira, and it has an impact. It has a big impact. It's not easy. And it can make us have all kinds of reactions and all kinds of emotions. They're understandable. We have to work them through. But don't expend and waste energy on judging, on being angry, on being resentful. People made the decisions that are right for them. And maybe if they weren't, they're going to reverse it. Maybe they'll come back, or maybe they have to live with it. But it's none of our business. It's not for us. We are where we're meant to be, and we have to look at what we have and our world we're in now, our circumstance, and we have to live our best selves. So we have to make new friends, or we have to choose new classes, we have to find a new chavrusa, or we have to find a way to hang out in another dira, another room with other roommates. We make the best of what we have, but we're Dorish L'Shvach. We look for the good, we look to praise, and we don't know. We're not in other people's shoes. We're not living their lives. We don't know where they're at, and we should not sit in judgment. That is wasted energy. It's counterproductive energy, and it is sabotaging the achdus that we feel. Right now, Klal Yisrael, there are walls that people thought were impenetrable. There are walls that people thought were permanent. There are walls that people thought were concrete and cement, and they've come crumbling down between Klal Yisrael, segments of Klal Yisrael, people on the left and right politically, and religious and secular, and Hasidim and Litvish, and all these walls, Ashkenazim and Sfardim, they've come crumbling down. You don't need me to take the time. You're living it. I'm watching it, but you don't need me to elaborate. You've seen and you're living those stories of incredible achdus. Our job is to increase it. Our job is to contribute to it, and our job is to bottle it and cement it and make sure it lasts forever. Because please God, Bekarov, soon this will be over. There'll be a sweeping success. There'll be an incredible victory for Israel. We'll restore safety and security, our incredible, precious, courageous, amazing soldiers for whom we're davening and pushing and cheering and loving and supporting. They're going to be successful, and this will be over. And what will we go back to? What will the relationships be like after? If we're filled with anger and resentment and criticism and Chalilu Lashon Hara now about people who've made different decisions than us, then what will be those relationships after? What impact and damage are we doing to the Achdus right now that we so badly and desperately need? So don't waste energy and don't waste time. There might be a reasonable feeling. You felt that. You felt it for a little bit. Feel it for a little bit. Allow yourself to feel it for a little bit. And then move on. I forget who coined it. They call it the 5-minute rule, the 5 for 5 rule. If it won't matter in 5 years, then don't spend more than 5 minutes on it. If it won't matter in more than 5 years, then don't spend more than 5 minutes on it. So 5 minutes, be annoyed at your roommate, your chavrusa. 5 minutes, be frustrated by the circumstance or the change of the program. 5 minutes, be frustrated. And then, yesh me rabosenu shedarshan l'shvach. To be a Rebbe, our teachers teach us, l'shvach, we look for the praise, we look for the positive. We're not looking to sit in judgment. You don't know the person who left or their parents or their family. You don't know their anxiety level. You don't know their mental health history. You don't know what trauma has existed in them or their families in the past that you don't have to confront or live with. We don't know. We have to trust and we have to believe and we have to make space for people to make different decisions and what's right for them. And if it's frustrating, be frustrated for 5 minutes and move on. Be among the Rabboseinu who are Dorshan L'Shvach, never be Dorish L'Gina. You see that elsewhere in our Parsha, because after the Hashem comes down to examine the universe. Hashem Migdal Bavel. Hashem comes down to check it out. What's going on? Who are these people? Why are they competing with him? Why are they building a tower up to the heavens? Who are they? Why is he coming down here? Why do we describe Hashem as Vayered Hashem Liros? Hashem came down to check it out. The Shlach Kadosh says in the story of Migdal Bavel, a group of people were trying to find Hashem. They built this tower to penetrate into the heavens, into the Shamayim. And Hashem's answer was to come down to teach us that our mission is to bring him down to earth. That's one part of the lesson. We're not trying to be ascetic. We're not trying to be better than. We're not trying to be removed from this world. We're trying to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu adira b'tachtonim, azay zok teshla kadosh. We're not trying to live such holy, righteous lives that we are apart from this world. We live in this world. We make a bracha on the food, and we get married and enjoy intimacy, and we don't take vows of silence. We speak and we communicate and we connect with other people. We are part of this world, and we elevate this world. Our mission is not to go up there. Our mission is to give adira b'tachtonim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should dwell down here. Where? Through each and every one of us, each and every one of us. Hashemayim shamayim laHashem, v'aretz nasan livnei adam. Heavens belong to Hashem, the earth he gave to us, and we're supposed to turn the earth into a shamayim. Shamayim is laHashem, v'ha'aretz nasan livnei adam, to turn it into shamayim here on earth. You're doing that. You're doing that by staying in Eretz Yisrael and being part of the story of the Am HaNivchar, of the Bechor of Hashem. By being part of the destiny of Klal Yisrael, you're turning the Aretz into Shamayim. You're giving an extension. I don't remember if it's the Ibn Ezra or Sforno, but one of them, I believe, say, Hashamayim Shamayim l'Hashem v'ha'aretz nasan livnei adam. The heavens are Hashem's, the earth he gave to man, except for Eretz Yisrael. That's still Hashem's. That's Shamayim. That's Bechinas Shamayim on the Aretz. That's why you could have mitzvahs hatliyas ba'aretz. If you grow something in a garden in Boca Raton, I did for about 5 minutes during Corona, which my kids correctly predicted I only did so that I could give a drasha about it. That's how long it lasted, my garden. But if you ever had a garden, and you grew something, there's no mitzvah satliyas ba'aretz. You don't separate trumas and maisros. You don't make a bracha. You know why? You know what the dirt in Boca Raton is? It's dirt. It's soil. It's earth. It's nothing. But in Eretz Yisrael, as you know well, trumas and maisros, mitzvah satliyas ba'aretz. Eretz Yisrael, there's no dirt. It's holy soil. It's holy earth. It's a piece of Shamayim here on the Aretz. That's where you are. That's where you're staying. That's where you're living. That's the air that you're breathing. A friend of mine gave me an idea, and we started it this past Shabbos. He said, especially in times of crisis like this, he tries to only on Shabbos drink wine from Eretz Yisrael, wine from Israel. Not only because it's supporting the vineyards of Israel and it's a taste, a connection to Israel. He said when he uncorks the bottle, the first thing he does is breathe in the air. Because the air in that bottle that came from Israel is air from Eretz Yisrael. It's the Avira de Eretz Yisrael. And when you drink that wine, you're drinking from the grapes that grew in the vineyards of Eretz Yisrael. Because Eretz Yisrael is Bechina Shamayim, even on the Aretz. That's where you are. That's the air that you're breathing. So you say, I'm in my dormitory, I'm in my Beis Medrash, I'm in our library. What difference am I making by being here? I'm not putting on a uniform. I'm not in the front lines. You're there. You're in the Shamayim on the Aretz. You're making a difference. But why did they come down? So they made that mistake, Migdal Bavel. They tried to climb up. They should have stayed down here. The goal is to give Hashem Dira B'Tachtonim, and there's no place to give Dira B'Tachtonim as great as Eretz Yisrael. That is the Bechina of Shamayim, even here on the Aretz. But there's another insight. Kadosh Baruch Hu, not only here, Migdal Bavel is not the only time that Hashem says, Vayered Hashem Liros, that he goes down to see. He goes down to see Erdana ve'ereh, Haketza akasa habayilai asu kala ve'imlo ida'a. Kadosh Baruch Hu goes down to see stone. He goes down to see stone. Are they irredeemable? Are they not irredeemable? Is Avram Avinu right? Is there a reason to save them? He comes down to see. Rashi quotes the Medrash Tanchuma lo hutzrach lekach ela ba lalamid l'dayanim shel yashiu anidon ad sheyiru be'avinu. The Rebbeinu Shalom was teaching us a precedent. You can't go judge a situation unless you're in it. You can't know unless you see it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is omnipotent, infinite. He sees everything. Kadosh Baruch Hu is everything. Of course, he's got cameras and he's got microphones everywhere. Why does he have to come down to see? Not because he needs to. Says the Medrash, of course, the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't need to come down in order to see. So why does he? Because it's a precedent for us. He wants us to know that you can't judge a situation until you see it, until you're in it, until you have first-hand knowledge of it. First-hand knowledge of it. Rav Schwab elaborates and he says Hashem lives above all creation. He's infinite and he's perfect and he's omnipotent. He's immortal. He doesn't make any mistakes. So he had to come down to a world, Vayered. He came down to a place where he'd see that their people are imperfect. He would understand the struggles that we have to live in our world. He lives up there with the Malachim. They're pre-programmed to do everything right and get it right from the start. So Erdana ve'ereh, Vayered Hashem. He came down here to earth to be among mere mortals who struggle and who have to navigate and have to figure things out. And one of the obstacles that we have sometimes when we judge people is we say, you'd never catch me doing that. No one in my family or my community ever would. I simply don't understand. How could they do that? But we're wrong. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu demonstrated that he came down and went into people's situation, that he saw it from their perspective before he would come to a conclusion, then we too need to know, unless you're in someone's circumstance, unless you know all the variables in their life, don't judge. So don't waste time on your friends who've left, on those who've made different decisions than you. Don't judge. It's just an unhealthy, self-destructive energy. Don't judge. Hillel taught us, don't judge someone until you reach their place. So when do you get to judge them? When you get to their place? Elamai, what do we know? You could never be in their place. None of us have the same DNA. We're not the same. We don't have the same DNA. We don't look the same. We don't live the same. We don't come from the same backgrounds. We don't have the same personalities. We don't have the same assets and the same liabilities and the same strengths and the same weaknesses. We're all different. We can never be in someone else's place. We can never walk in their shoes, which means we can never judge them. If you can't judge someone until you're in their place and you can never be in their place, never sit in judgment. It doesn't help. Rav Schwab notes that it's not a coincidence that before the Yigimel Midos HaRachamim that we say over and over in the Yom Noram, we just said, we say Vayered Hashem be'anan. Why do we invoke? Because we're about to say Hashem, be kind, be compassionate, judge us favorably. How do we invoke him? How do we inspire him to do that? Vayered Hashem be'anan. Come down, look from our perspective, live from our angle, see it from where we are, and then maybe you'll judge us a little bit more favorably. So Chevra, judge favorably. Yesh me Rabboseinu shedorshin l'shvach, because to be a Rebbe is to see the good, is to assume the good, is to assume the best, is to not dwell on criticism or on negative judgment. Yesh dorshin l'gnai, that's a reality. Rashi's quoting, there are those who will see comparisons, there'll be those who are filled with criticisms, there'll always be those who are dorish l'gnai, but we're not dorish l'gnai, we're dorish l'shvach. We see the good, we live the good, we believe in the good. That's our mission. So be proud of your decision. Know Eila Toldos Noach, Noach. Know what you're doing for your future self. You're cementing a piece of your legacy. You're cementing a part of what you will leave in this world. Your Noach, Eila Toldos Noach, Noach, your future self, your legacy, your reputation, your brand. Because of the choice that you've made, be proud of it. Lean into it. Understand that the difference you're making with it. Understand you're in the place that is the Shamayim on Aretz. You're giving Hashem Madira B'tachtonim, that your presence is boosting morale and making a difference. It is enormous. It is enormous. But there's something else that you're doing while you're there. There's something else that you're doing. And soon we'll wind down and end. I know we're running out of time. And that is the following. The Pasuk says, when it comes to Noach, it tells Noach that it's time to enter the Teva, to build a Tzohar. Tzohar Tasel Teva. What's a Tzohar? Rashi quotes two opinions. Is a tzohar a stone that refracts light? Is a tzohar a window? It could be it's taloy in the machlokas if you're dorish l'shvach or dorish l'gnai. If Noach is a tzaddik, an objective tzaddik in any generation, then he's entitled to look out the window and see the others suffer. If Noach is only a tzaddik for his generation, just like Lot's wife, Lot couldn't turn around and see the others suffer, so too Noach can't look out a window, so it doesn't mean a window, it means a stone. So some say that the two opinions in the Rashi, what is a tzohar, is it a stone or a window, is totally in the machlokas, is Noach an objective tzaddik or a relative tzaddik? But tzohar tasel teva, what does it mean, tzohar tasel teva? Said the holy Baal Shem Tov. You know what tzohar tasel teva means? Tzohar means, what's a teva? A teva means the words. letters. So yes, a tzara means an ark. When the world is stormy, when it's dangerous, when it's flooded with threats all around us, you have to climb into the teva. You climb into the ark. But teva also means a word. It means the teva of Torah. The words of Torah, the words of Tehillim, the words of Tefillah. Tzohar, make a window. The most way to have a direct line to Hashem, to appeal to the Ribbon Shalom, that window, that bright light that we bring, that we create in this world, is in the tevos of Torah and the tevos of Tefillah. That's what you're doing. That's your mission. That's where you're meant to be right now. Open a siddur, daven, add on more Tehillim, connect to Torah, learn the Torah that's going to inspire you to what's going on around you, and enter into that teva. That's what the Maggid said following that same teaching. Noach's told, Ba ata v'chol beisecha el hateva. You and your whole home, your whole family, all Klal Yisrael, right now we have to go into the teva. Right now go into the teva. Enter the teva. Enter the teva of Torah. Right now go in. Increasing our davening, increasing our learning, increasing the teva of Torah. That's where we belong. That's our mission. That's what we're meant to do. That's what we're meant to do. And then to take this experience and to light up the world. Because the Heliger of Nassan of Breslov is the Likutei Halachos and Shabbos. He says, when the flood is done, Noach is told, say min ha-teva. It's time to leave the teva. He had a tzivoy to enter the teva, and he has a tzivoy to exit the teva. Now, when Noach is told, I'm about to flood the world and destroy it and do a hard reset on it, I understand. Noach was mikat ne'amuna. Until it rained, he didn't walk in. Hashem told him it's time to come. Why does he have to be told to leave the teva? Who wouldn't want to re-enter society, rebuild society? Who wouldn't want to get off of that boat with all those animals, all that food, all that excrement? Who wouldn't want to get out of there? Why does he have to be told, say min ha-teva, leave the teva? So Rav Nassan of Breslov says, it's something beyond exiting the teva. Noach is a righteous person, a righteous personality. His one fault was his failure to inspire others. He took care of himself. He looked and leaned into himself. He cared about his survival, his future. Maybe because of Rav Levi Yitzchak Berditcher, the Kedushas Levi said he didn't believe in his capacity to make a difference. He thought if he would preach to his generation, who would listen? Who would follow? Who would be transformed? When Rashi says Mikat Ne'emuna, he was Mamin ve'eno Mamin, it doesn't mean in Hashem. It means he didn't sufficiently believe in himself. He didn't believe in his ability to impact this world. He didn't believe he could make a difference. He didn't believe that he mattered, that he was consequential. And because of that, he retreated and he took care of only of himself and he took care of his survival, so much so that the Haftarah of this week, they're called Mei Noach. The Navi Yeshaya calls them the waters of Noach because Noach took care of himself. He didn't take care of others. He didn't believe in his ability to take care of others. So he retreated. He lived his life long before he went into the Teva. And even after he exited the Teva, he continued to live in a Teva. He lived secluded, he lived isolated, he lived in withdrawing from the world around him. He lived worrying only about himself. Says Rav Nassan, when Hashem told Noach, Tzei min ha-teva, what he was telling him was, leave your ivory tower, leave your comfort zone, leave the world that's about you and your happiness and your needs and what you want. Tzei min ha-teva, there's a world, it needs to be rebuilt. Now go build it, go restore it, go put it together. Go lift, go elevate, go construct, go build. And that is what I want to leave you with. That right now you're in the teva of Torah, the teva of Tefillah. You're in Yeshiva, you're in seminary, you're in a place, in a stage of life, the holiest place, the Bechina of Shemayim, even here on Aretz. And right now your job is to learn. Right now your job is to daven. Right now you're leaning in that special place. But also simultaneously, and especially after you leave, tzei min ha-teva. We have to care about one another. We have to be involved and invested in one another. We have to be lifting one another. There are opportunities outside your yeshiva and seminary, I'm sure, to volunteer, to give out food, to help give out tzitzis, to help to punch the holes in the tzitzis and dye the tzitzis. A lot of tzitzis stuff going on from what I understand. There are a lot of opportunities to volunteer, to work on things. But you know what else there is? There's somebody in your yeshiva or seminary that's feeling isolated alone, that's more worried than others, that's homesick, that's concerned. Tzei min ha-teva. Leave your ivory tower of you're all good and notice and see and care and stay up talking at night and sit down and have lunch with, or find a new chavrusa in that base medrash, lift the spirits of. Somebody that you're really proud of, this may be way out of your comfort zone, text their parents and say, I just want you to know, my friend, your son or daughter, they're doing amazing. They're inspiring all of us. They're fantastic. Leave your comfort zone and text. Say min ha-teva. Don't only worry about you, the teva of Torah, the teva of tefillah. That's where you belong. That's what you need to be doing. But also, it's tzei min ha-teva. Tzei min ha-teva. Our message here is text people you know in Israel. Don't underestimate the impact and the value of texting and writing and calling. But my message to you there is also text people here. let them know you're okay, and let them know how proud they should be, and let them know that your parents who are part of this war, by allowing you to be there, they're also doing their part. And for some of them, I can tell you firsthand, we had a meeting the other night of parents of students who are in Israel. We have a WhatsApp group, and we've created a community of those who have their children in Israel. For some, it's very difficult and very challenging, and they're navigating it for themselves. And you know what a message would mean, not only from their own child, but their child's friend, about what it means and the impact and the difference you're making by being there? Same in HaTeva. Don't just stay in the Teva, leave the Teva, make a difference. And therefore, I'll start in the way I began. I couldn't be more proud, not only of the one watching this who I'm related to very closely, who I'm not supposed to mention, and her friends, and not only the children of our community who I'm also related to. All of Boca are my children and my family. We couldn't be more proud of all of you. We love you. We're proud of you. We're thinking about you and Klal Yisrael and our soldiers every second. Every second. Know you're in the place of Shamayim and Aretz. Know you're making a difference. Know Eila Toldos Noach. Noach, you're cementing your legacy, your future self. Be very careful. Be very careful. Al tadon es chavercha ad shetagim komo. Don't judge others. Don't be critical of others. If you're dorish l'genah, you're not me'rab Hosseinu. Only be dorish l'shvach. Praise. Only see the good. Only assume you can't understand why others made their own decisions. Don't waste or spend time and energy on it. Give people the space to come to the conclusion that was right for them. Live in this teva where you belong right now, and collectively, all of us will say men ha-teva. When we leave the teva that's comfortable and we're willing to rebuild the world around us, Mir Hashem will rebuild a world that will be redeemed. You should be safe and secure. And Mir Hashem, I can't wait to see you all there very, very shortly. Thank you. I'm honored by this opportunity, and thank you for including me.
Thank you so much, Efrem. Thank you all for joining. Next week we'll have speakers. Thank you so much.